Good evening. It being the hour of 6 o'clock, I'm calling the regular meeting of the Sonoma City Council to order. And we would like to start with our Pledge of Allegiance, and I have two volunteers to help me, Max and Sebastian, Boy Scouts, to join us. So please rise as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country and join me. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Max and Sebastian, for joining us and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We will now have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Ferrer-Rivas.
Present.
Vice Mayor Gurney.
Present.
Councilmember Wellender.
Here.
Councilmember Dean.
Here.
Mayor Lowe.
Here.
Thank you.
This meeting is live and also on Zoom. There was no closed session. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. If the clerk would please call the roll.
Councilmember Ferrer-Rivas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney.
Aye.
Councilmember Wellender.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Next portion of our agenda is meeting dedications. I understand we have one from the Vice Mayor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was brought to my attention just a few moments ago that one of our former and probably the first and forever city clerk elected, Eleanor Berto, passed away last weekend. And so I think it would be very befitting to dedicate this meeting to her spirit. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that. Absolutely. Any other dedications at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the regular calendar, and we're going to start off by Madam
Madam
Clerk.
Mayor, did you want to do the general public comment?
Oh, I'm
first?
sorry. Yes, we will. I was going to do it after this, but I think, thank you for reminding. Let's do public comment first. At this time, any member of the public who can come forward, you have 3 minutes on anything that is not on the agenda. Please.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Charlotte Newman. I'm in 8th grade at the Presentation School on Broadway. And to graduate at my school, you have to do a service project to give back to your community and your school. And my service project is a Bike to School Day to promote bike safety and a healthy lifestyle. The date is March 3rd, and I have a couple of questions and concerns that I would like to bring to this council. I was wondering about steps for safety, such as cars, having cones, flags, etc., but without interfering with the road. Also, if I should have volunteers and temporary crossings at a specific intersection. I have also contacted the Valley Sheriff Substation about this matter of safety, but they have not gotten back to me yet. I will follow up. Also, if I could have a meeting point in the square, such as at the town hall or adjacent to the Basque Cafe. Also, is there any obvious next step for a group of 20 to probably 80 at the most for a group cycle, such as safety or obstacles or such things like that? So thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions or clarifications. I'm also going to leave a map with the county clerk that has the specific route and also my information. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. And we talked earlier, and we'll get back to you. Thank you so much. Anyone else have an item from the public? How about on Zoom?
There's actually no one attending from Zoom this evening at this point.
Okay, it makes me wonder. I don't know. Okay, thank you so much. So now we can go on to the regular meeting. I was so anxious to get right into it. So the first item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action selecting the 2023 City of Sonoma All-Call Day. And I want to just preface this by saying that, as many of you are finding out, I relook at everything and analyze and say, can we do this a different way that might improve our process? And so upon my recommendation, and working with the team that made the recommendation of All-Call Day, we've decided that we shouldn't be so secretive and that the person that we're going to recommend should be here so they can accept this great honor and address the council. And so we're not calling them and stopping the meeting and perhaps missing them, or they're out of town, or, I remember one time I gave a Teacher of the Year award and she was in the bathtub. And so that didn't seem like a very ceremonious thing whatsoever. So I'm very, very pleased, and I'm hoping with the council's absolute enthusiasm and agreement to recommend Bill Lynch to be our All-Call Day for 2023. And this is to be ratified. I'd love to have a motion and a second, and we can get on with it.
I'll move to approve Bill Lynch as the All-Call Day for 2023.
Very good.
I second.
Motion and second. And if the clerk would be so kind as to call the roll.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney, Councilmember Wellender,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Lynch, would you like to come forward, please, and say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mayor Lowe and City Council members. I'm very honored and grateful for this honor. I'm especially grateful because of my friends here, some of whom are past Alcaldes, or current Alcalde in one case, who supported apparently. This is, you're talking about being in the bathtub. Until you called yesterday, I didn't know, Sandra. I didn't know anything about this, and I was surprised. And then I learned in part that it was my good friends, many of whom have been honored as Alcaldes, who really got behind my nomination. And I'm very, very grateful to all of you, those who are here and those who are not. And I feel humble because of all the people that came before me, including the most current, and especially some of the ones that were around when the position of Alcalde was first started here by the City Council with August Pinelli's nomination. Of course, I knew August quite well, and my dad followed shortly, and there was Jerry Casson and my honorary uncle Henry Mazanavi, and so many more who came after, who were such, to me, so deserving, and I can't really say that I could stand next to them and feel like I measured up, but I'm very honored to be mentioned and thought of with them, and I do appreciate this honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're just so grateful, and thank you so much for all of the people who were nominated, all of the people who wrote letters, all the people who worked on the committee and made the recommendation, and thank you for changing the procedures a little bit. So we kept it a secret, but I think it's only fitting that the person that we bring forward should be here in person to receive this awesome achievement. And I look forward to working with you and having an incredible year as we go forward in Sonoma this 2023. We've got all kinds of great plans ahead. We had a wonderful session yesterday, a goal-setting session, and I think everyone here will be very pleased with the goals of this council. So again, thank you so much for your service. I understand that perhaps some of you might want to not hang around and instead visit one of the more historic places on the plaza for adult beverages. And I encourage you to do so. So thank you again, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And thank you to the council and everybody for supporting the slight change in process, but I think it's, as I can tell by the excitement in the room, I think it's a winner. Okay. So moving along, we have changed some things so that we could do committee reports and comments from the council members early in the meeting, so that the vast array of people who would be here might learn something more about what's going on. I'll start to my left, Councilmember Ding. Do you have anything to report?
I'm afraid I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Ferrer-Rivas,
I don't have anything to report this council meeting.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
As you know, I'll be departing for Antarctica, looking for that next sister city, so I have nothing further to report.
Excellent.
Oh, when you are leaving?
Yes. When are you leaving?
I will be leaving February 8th.
Oh, February, okay, we still have time.
Yeah. We'll give you some committees to do or something before then. Mr. Wellender, any report?
Very simple. I had the opportunity to attend my first committee meeting by Zoom, one of my favorite ways to communicate. This was the Sonoma Valley Citizens Advisory Commission, of which I do have interest in staying in touch. I'm glad that there's a mute button. So anyway, thank you.
That is a
Thank
great
you.
commission.
It is. And
I was serving the 8 years.
excellent. Thank you so much, and thank you for your service on that. I don't have anything to report. It seems like we've been here for the last 48 hours, and a lot of good work has been done, so we'll move on. Any comments from our city manager?
I do have a few comments. First, I learned today, you may already know this, but that our Public Works Director's mother was an alcalde.
Oh,
Isn't that right? That is right. What, about 25 years ago or something? Plus or minus.
that's nice.
So I thought we ought to at least know that. So it's pretty cool.
It is.
Speaking of yesterday, I want to thank you all for the good work you put in on working on your priorities for 5 years, 1 year, 5 months. We've, the clerk and Rebecca Monique have organized this stuff for us to work with. What I'm going to be doing is we're going to do an initial report very soon on making sure we understand the 5 months. And so I'll be talking with you, the ones I will be meeting with, to make sure I got your stuff down. And then I'm looking at least a monthly report on where we are with each of your 5-month priorities. And that'll be in the form of an information memorandum to you, but it gets posted on the website so that people can follow it. Secondly, I followed up on 2 things from yesterday, last night. One was the issue related to the public comments and the folders and so on. So this is my first cut through to take on it. Turns out we had 3 different folders that were put up there, some by different people. So they were sent off, one was sent off, and then the others finally got there to get the comments. It also appears that the comments related to HCD were handled before the public comments. So the public comments are being incorporated, but they were done after. I want to reevaluate that to see whether that's how we really want to go. We may want to do the public comments right away. So I'll just talk with staff about it, but I owed you that that feedback. And I'm just really pleased that we're going to have a chance with the general plan update to deal with some of the issues you raised last night. And we can also deal with this issue of how to handle the public comments so that it's out there. We should not need 3 folders. We ought to have one, and it's and so on. The second one was related to the email mentioned by the group that they sent on January 25th, which I indicated I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen it, but I did receive it on January 25th. I get, whenever the council gets an email, I get it. It was my mistake not to have read that and acknowledged that. And I apologize to you and to them. We did, in fact, have it on the 25th. And so I was in error with what I reported to you. So it's on my watch, both of these things, so we will take care of remedying those. So I wanted to report that to you. And that's it for my comments this evening.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and, you know, we all, you know, appreciate everybody's transparency. That's how we get things done. That's how we get better, and we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes, so that's all right. Right. Any comments from the city attorney?
No report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have no presentations. There's a consent calendar. I would like to entertain a motion to approve, or any questions to pull any items from the council.
I make a motion to approve.
Is a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I second.
There's a
Madam
motion
Mayor,
and a second.
public
Yes,
comment?
and public comment. Thank you. Is there any public comment? I'm sorry. Would you have anything to say about the consent calendar? It doesn't matter, by the way. Thank you for saying that, because you know what? It doesn't matter. Anyone may have, anyone on Zoom? Okay, thank you. All right, seeing no public comment, and we have a motion and a second, if the clerk would please call the roll.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney,
Aye.
Councilmember Wellender,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Great. We're on to the regular calendar. 10.1, consideration, discussion, and possible action to review letters of interest received and give direction to Mayor Lowe or her designee regarding nominations for appointees to regional commissions and committees on behalf of the Mayor and Council Members Association of Sonoma County and the City Selection Committee. Madam Clerk, do you have anything to add to this? Otherwise, I'll just go into it.
And not unless anybody had any questions, I tried to be extremely thorough in my staff report.
Yes,
So if
it was
anyone
very
had
thorough.
staff questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you so much. If you'll open up the PDF, you'll notice that there are many committees, commissions that we get to vote on these people, whether or not to serve on them. And all of them, with the exception of the one that I'm trying to get on, have an equal number of openings as they do people trying to get on the committee. So, unless there is an objection, I would like to say that we support all of the candidates for these various commissions as they're the, you know, this number of nominees is equal to the number of openings. And then we can take up the LAFCO one second. So can we get an agreement on those, or any questions on
It
that?
looks like number 2, the agriculture preservation.
thank
it has
you.
2.
Okay, great.
I mean, it
Thank
has
you.
one opening to.
Thank you for noticing
Sure.
that. You're absolutely right. So let's pull that one aside and pull the LAFCO one aside. You're absolutely right. That was my error. And any other ones that we noticed, or any? So
Yeah.
without objection, we'll assume that we will support the candidates for those other commissions. And then let's go right ahead to number 2. We have 2 candidates
Mayor, look,
Yes.
so you want to, at the end, do you want to do one motion then that
Yes.
covers everything? Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't want to have to go through every single
Yeah.
one of these if we didn't have to. Right. Yeah, and then we'll take one motion afterwards. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So we have two people, Todd Lands from Cloverdale and Mark Stapp from Santa Rosa, who are interested in the Agricultural Preservation Open Space District. And I have not spoken to Todd Lands. I have spoken to Mark Stapp, and I would support his recommendation. But are there any other comments from the council on those?
I would also say in my review that I would also support Mark Stapp. I don't know either of the candidates, but I did as much I Googled them as much as I could. So, but they were both very good candidates, but I would support Mark Stapp.
Mark at least reached out to me, and I apologize. I should have mentioned that earlier. Any other questions, comments?
Unfortunately, I do not know either of them, even though I did read their letters, so I'm not sure if it's legal. Can I just vote present? Just kidding, just vote for one.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to vote. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, no one's forcing.
You
All
would
right.
You would just abstain. We
You
don't
could
really
abstain.
have a present.
Yes. Yes.
But you know, the people elected you for your vote, so.
I understand how you feel, though. Some of these, it's just kind of like you don't know the people. Okay, so moving along, I know you know at least one of the people trying to get on the LAFCO commission, and of course that's me. And I hope I get your support. But there's another position open and also an alternate. And I want to know if anyone has any recommendations on the alternate or the other position, or my position, if you would prefer me not to be on LAFCO, just break it to me gently and I'll take it, Mr. Wellender.
I would like very much to support your candidacy because it's been many a year since we've had any representation from Sonoma. And not to say that we've been ignored, but I certainly think it's high time that we do have a representative, and I certainly would think that you would be very capable and appropriate.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, and Wellanders and represented my idea. Also, I support and Susan Harvey, because we have the two spaces available, right? He was approaching me, and also we want to work together for the Water Advisory Commission. So now I know her for the last 2 years. So now also I support both. Number one is you, and the second one is Susan Harvey.
Very good. Are there any other nominations or questions regarding the candidates? No? Is there a thought regarding the alternate position? If there's not, I'd like to make a recommendation that Jeff, and I'm going to mangle his last name, I'm so sorry, Jeff, Jeff Okrepi from Santa Rosa be recommended for the alternate position. Again, he did reach out to me, and we had a good conversation. He's a new council member, but has a wealth of experience.
Yeah, I mean, I rely on your recommendations since his information was very brief.
Yes, his information that he submitted was just, I'm nominating myself, but he did send an email, as did Susan Harvey, with a little bit more information that you might have received. So what I'm hearing is that the recommendation for the agriculture and open space is Mark Stapp, and for the LAFCO is Sandra Lowe and Susan Harvey, with Jeff Okrepi as being the alternate. And if someone would just say that in terms of so moved, we can get a motion in a second.
Should we move the whole?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
moving the
after
whole
public
thing.
comment,
Yeah.
we can just do one motion.
Yeah, we can do one motion.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
So second.
All right. comment? Zoom? No, none. Okay. All right. Seeing no public comment, no questions regarding the motion, if the clerk would please call the roll.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney,
Aye.
Councilmember Welland,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
And just to follow up on this, the actual election will take place, unfortunately, on the day that we have the Meet the Mayor event at the museum. At the same time, I'm going to try to make sure that they can, it's a Zoom meeting that they can text you and.
When it's going to happen.
Yes, and Councilmember Farrar Rivas will be acting in my stead at that vote, but it should go fairly quickly.
Good.
Thank you, thank you.
I just want to pronounce Okrepkie right.
Yeah, yes, Okrepkie. I think it's as it's spelt, but, you know, it's got a lot of Ks in there. So, moving along, we are at the next item. Let me just open it on the, which is 10.2, consideration, discussion, and possible action to adopt a resolution authorizing the interim city manager to execute a contract with A+ Tree Care and Sustainability Tree Company in the amount of $26,167.40 to provide tree maintenance and removal at the City of Sonoma Plaza Park, and to approve a mid-year budget adjustment. And I believe the Public Works Director and City Engineer have a report for us. Is that correct? Mr. Berger, you are on.
Yes, thank you. And just to clarify, this agenda item was brought up to council, the last council, and we're revisiting the issue tonight. So, good evening, Mayor Lowe and council members. I'm just going to go ahead and read the summary to refresh everybody's mind. In April of 2022, the City of Sonoma Public Works Department solicited a tree health assessment of the Plaza Park trees. The Bartlett Inventory Solutions BIS team from Bartlett Tree Experts conducted an inventory of all the trees on the grounds of the Sonoma Plaza. Bartlett Tree Experts identified 228 trees, including 3 groupings, which included 44 species. The attributes that were collected include tree latitude, longitude, size, age, condition, class, and a visual assessment of tree structure, health, and vigor. This assessment was completed over the summer of 2022 and presented both immediate needs and an overall management plan for the trees in Sonoma's Plaza Park. This assessment is included as Attachment A, Contract and Assessment. In the assessment, 40 trees were identified as in need of immediate maintenance or removal. The city solicited bids for the major tree maintenance work that is immediately necessary at the Plaza Park to ensure public safety. Public Works has selected the lowest price bidder, A+ Tree Care and Sustainability Tree Company, to perform the tree maintenance work. Public Works will incorporate other phases of the recommended maintenance of the plaza trees into future year budgets. A+ Tree Care and Sustainability Tree Company will prune, as part of this contract, a total of 37 trees, including 13 American sycamore trees, 8 silver maple trees, 4 scarlet oak trees, 4 American elm trees, 3 Freeman maples, 1 Mexican fan palm tree, 1 coast redwood tree, 1 Japanese maple tree, and 1 gecko tree, 1 eucalyptus tree, 2 deodar cedar trees, 2 catalpa trees, and the removal of 3 Freeman maple trees. All trees will be pruned for large deadwood removal, crown elevation, crown thinning, and reduction where needed for weight and clearance. They will chip the removed brush, clean up, and haul away all the wood chips. Staff is requesting that the City Council of the City of Sonoma authorize the interim city manager to execute a contract with A+ Tree Care and Sustainability Tree Company in the amount of $26,167.40 to provide tree maintenance and removal at the City of Sonoma Plaza Park. And just to give you a little bit more recent happenings of tree trimming here at the city, we did contract with A+ Tree to do the tree work at the Field of Dreams. We went out, did an inspection of their work. We worked with them throughout the whole process. They're doing a really good job. And this was more of a production up here, and they understand that the plaza is a little bit different It's going to be less of a production, and it's, you know, we got to pay more attention and be more diligent about making everything look really good. I used to cut trees, and back in the day, we called them artsy crafty trees. And tonight, we brought a representative from A+. Sarah Denis is here, and with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to her so she can tell you a little bit more about A+ and just how they do business and work, etc.
Thank you so much. Please.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening. I'm Sarah Dunya, A+ Tree. I'm an urban forest manager. What that really means is I'm a selling and consulting arborist. A+ Tree has been in business for 22 years. We started in Vallejo. We've since grown throughout the Bay Area, SAC, SoCal. We're in the Pacific Northwest, Utah, and Oregon. We operate from a place of love and respect. It's our motto for the environment and each other. We're certified arborists, many of us, including our project coordinators, customer service people. We specialize in tree pruning, removal, planting and transplanting, tree health care and diagnosis, vegetation management and defensible space, emergency service, and we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What makes us special is Arbor Plus, our smart software, a GPS-based program that keeps all of your trees' information and the inventory in the cloud. And it changes in real time as work is completed or trees are removed. We also recycle trees and mill them into furniture for a special tree that needs to be removed or is special to the community. We've been known to make a nice bench out of that tree and place it somewhere to be remembered. So the mill is definitely something special to us. We make our own mulch and biochar. The plaza, we understand it's a really special gathering place. It's really high focal point. It's the city center. Very high traffic, appreciated by many who like to lunch and enjoy the trees. 44 diverse species of trees. So the plan would be to use Tyler, the current crew lead for Field of Dreams, working really well with city staff and is one of our best crew leaders. Very good with the public, very safety conscious and really efficient, works really hard. His guys love him and work really hard for him. There's actually 40 trees in the first phase. We're pruning for safety first, aesthetics second, and to cause no harm to the tree. We want it to look as if it hasn't been pruned. We want to make proper ANSI cuts, ANSI standards. That's American National Standards Institute. We have a in-depth, pretty comprehensive pedestrian traffic control plan as well as vehicle traffic control for the area. The idea is that we'll start setting up at 7 a.m., be ready to go with equipment at 8 a.m., hopefully have the portion of the plaza that is closest to the museum, where it's most frequently used for lunch by students and things, before the lunch hour. Hopefully making our way to the other side of the plaza for the day. We're going to be working in cooperation with the city on no parking, getting some extra barricades. Like I said, we're staffing up for pedestrian traffic control as well, just keeping people safe and behind the caution tape. We will need to have a discussion about replacement trees with our arborist. We want to be thoughtful about what we put back and have them be just as diverse or special as what we have there now. That being said, is there any questions for me?
Thank you so much. Through the chair, if there are any questions of staff or of our consultant, any questions?
I have a question. I remember in the last discussion before council, so this is probably for you, Mike, there was one concern about, the big eucalyptus that is what Kelso said, across from the what used to be the liquor store, right?
Plaza
And
Liquors.
Plaza Liquors,
Right.
right? I remember Plaza Liquors, is that I couldn't identify it on this list of one that was going to be treated or removed. There was some talk of removal of it, so.
Yeah, and Councilmember Ferrari Rivas, when we were working up here at Field of Dreams, we took a field trip down to Plaza. And what Sarah and her crew wanted to do was look at the Plaza firsthand. And as we were down there, they said, hey, Mike, we can go by and we can take a look at that tree again. And because the original report said, it didn't say the tree is a removal, but it didn't rule it out either. It said it had fungus, it said it had problems. And then when A+ went through, their original recommendation was to remove the tree. When we went out and took a real close look at it and reassessed, they decided that with some real select trimming, they would be okay leaving the tree as is, and they feel that it's a safe tree. Yeah, so that got taken off of the cut list, and we will trim that tree and leave it in place.
Thank you. And then the other question I have for you, and thank you for the presentation, that was very clear, very succinct, pithy, I love it, was in regard to, as you have looked at other plazas or areas that have that many trees, overall, would you say that the care and tending of the trees in our plaza is good? Are they relatively in good condition compared to other places? What is our grade that we get for the current care of our plaza trees?
I see deferred maintenance. I think, Bartlett came in and did a plan. It's really a plan that we would do too. Where we differ is I wouldn't have insisted on a one plan for 3, 4, 5 years. We insist on looking at all the trees every year. We know what we did last year, so we're looking at the ones that, priority changes. Even when we were out at the plaza, I added 3 trees which had hangers in them that could be dangerous. So climate changes everything. The environment changes everything. These are living things, and there's no reason to believe they're going to be the same way in 3 or 4 years that they are right now. It weathered pretty well through all the storms. It was one of the deciding factors in that eucalyptus, actually, that and the fact that it had no target zone. It's a short enough and thick enough trunk that if it fell over, it wasn't going, and it won't. The trunk itself won't fall over, but there was no real target zone for it. It wasn't going to cause a huge roadblock or injury, things like that. We will be pruning it. We'll give it a full prune and reduce the crown a little bit, reduce some of the limb weight on the end. But those are the kinds of things. We were asked to bid apples to apples with their recommendations, which I think for the most part stood the test of time through summer till now. But we will each year want to look at it again and make small adjustments. Tree replacement was part of the plan in this phase, and we decided with Oriana and Mike that this needed a more thoughtful discussion around the choices. So we're going to be working on that with our arborist.
Great, thank you for the question. Any other questions? Mr. Ding?
Just curiosity, I hear you mentioned about 3 in the groupings in the trees. And what kind of 3 groups trees?
3 groupings?
Yeah.
Well, we identified 3 additional trees in the plaza that weren't on this this first phase. I think there's actually 5 phases that Bartlett was recommending for all the trees. One was a catalpa tree that had a lot of dead wood in it and had already had a couple branches break and fall. One was a redwood that still has hangers in it, more than likely, since the last time I saw it. So that's what we were identifying, just things that, this isn't on the list right now, but it's already showing some signs of decline and some weak limbs.
That's great.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Good to know. And also here you mentioned a maple tree and the Fremont, and also I saw that we have the maple and the silver. They are on the same, species?
They're not the same species, but they're both maples.
Okay, good to know.
A subspecies, not the same subspecies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any further questions? Yes, Mr. Willander.
Thank you for your work. I had a chance yesterday to walk the Field of Dreams, and given my love and background of trees, I thank you for doing a good job. Also, I would be most interested in the recommendations for the replacement. I love the fact that when we take something out, particularly in a planter, that we put something back so it does not look like an empty stage. So I appreciate that. So I did notice, and it's just my own observation in the walkthrough yesterday, is that a number of side cuts or cuts that weren't back to the collar. Is that something that's still practice as far as your secondary branch back to either your trunk, where you're pruning back to your collar so that you get a quicker development of the callus ring, or more even development?
I'd have to see the cut to be sure. It depends on the size of the limb.
Okay.
The reason they took it, it's hard for me to say. Usually, yes, that's proper practice.
My recommendation, just on the plaza, given what we've all expressed, the importance of the plaza, is I would be a strong supporter of wherever the cut needs to be for as quick a healing as possible for the plaza trees.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for your reassessment on the eucalyptus. We had a former city council person claim that he's going to chain himself to that eucalyptus tree if you were going to remove it. So I'm glad that-
Don't tell him. I want to see that. Sorry, I'm sorry.
And the last comment is kind of a general comment to both council and to staff and to you. I think what Sarah just said is of great value, in that in the best interest of the plaza, I strongly suggest we establish a relationship, a longer-term relationship with a company. If we can get over the hurdle of lowest bid, whatever that is, there is great value in having someone, particularly when they have the perspective of wanting to see things once a year, because things do change, and sometimes visits don't necessarily equate to work. It's kind of like a doctor walking through and saying, no, I think we're in pretty good shape, but next year we're going to, think about this, this, and this, and this. So I would love to see if A Plus has interest, that there be at least some discussion with our Public Works about the possibility of how we could strengthen this relationship to mutual benefit. And with that,
Thank you very much. I concur. I think that's the right thing to do. Mr. Ding.
Yes, I have a question. We, in our visitor bureau, we have the plaza and the tree map. So after you cut some, I believe that is small tree. Is it a match it? Do we need it to change for our tree maps with the visitor bureau?
If we are removing a tree and not putting back the same species, I would say yes. There are areas that aren't good places for trees. That's another reason we wanted to put off the replanting. We really wanted to make sure it's a good place for the tree in the first place. And it's possible it's being recommended for removal because it is the wrong place, or its roots are lifting something. So that's my answer.
Okay, yeah.
That's very good. We could follow up
Yeah,
with the
we
Visitors
can
Bureau.
follow up. Yeah,
Yeah.
see if thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh.
I hadn't even thought of that. Any other questions for our consultant? Thank you again for your presentation. So we've taken questions. Are there any public comments on Zoom or anywhere else? I don't think there's anyone around. We bored them to death yesterday. They all went away. They were all here. They were all here for the big show. Yeah. Okay. So seeing no public comment, we'll bring this back to the council for possible motion to accept this resolution.
We'd be honored. Thank you.
Yes. Thank
I
you.
said we'd be honored. Thanks.
Yes.
would-
Thank you so much.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the proposal by staff, and that we retain A Plus to execute their work as described in the summary.
Okay, to adopt the resolution as described, yes.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Yes, and I feel like I have 228 new friends.
Vice Mayor Gurney,
Aye.
Councilmember Wellender,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye,
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are at the end of our agenda, and with seeing no other items and no objection, we are adjourned.
Before we adjourn, Mayor,
Before we
could you-
adjourn,
Before
yes.
we adjourn, could we repeat your event on the 9th, just so the public hears it?
Oh, certainly.
What time, what day,
yes,
time,
at
and where?
the- at the-
Meet the mayor.
Yeah, meet the mayor, meet the council. It'll be at 5:30 at the Sonoma Museum of Art, next Thursday, the 9th. Everyone's welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anything else before I adjourn again?
Thank you for
All
this shortest in the city council meeting.
Thank you. I'm on my way to the city of brotherly love. Okay.